Welcome back to part 3, my friends. I hope you're all keeping very well. I hope you're enjoying the tutorial. Okay, so here's where we are. We have a few rocks done, a couple of ripples. I'm now going to focus on the main area of rocks. This is where I'm really going to kind of take my time and do them nice. Everything else is kind of an impression, really. I did add one, small little one, just here, popping up out of the water. That's quite nice, isn't it? So I have the same colours. I have a clean palette, clean turpentine, and I'm going to get a small brush. I think I'll start with this nice one here. Now what I might do is just fill in a little bit of blue just around some of those. So let me just dampen my brush and let's take some phaylo blue and a little magenta and perhaps a touch of, let's say a touch of burnt umber. A touch of white in that then as well. Just to fill in around those rocks a little bit, just a little. So for instance in here, it's a bit grey for my liking. I'll take a bit of pink and perhaps another touch of white. So I'm just going to continue this colour here down in between, just so I don't have to go around them later, you know what I mean? So that makes sense, of course. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? And I will make these slightly bigger than what they are on the drawing as well anyway, so not to worry. Okay, I think that's probably all right. That's all we need. Let's start with the rocks. I think I'll go with this one up here first. It's a kind of an ochre colour, isn't it? So I'm going to go with burnt umber, naples yellow. And let me see now, perhaps for a touch of warmth, maybe a touch of sienna. Now I'll take some white in that just to make it nice and light. So, you know, I'm just going along now, enjoying the painting. I'm going to come across and down like that, look. And then I'll come over and then back again. Now you could make these bigger or you can make them smaller. It's completely up to yourself. So I have the top of that done. Then it goes into a darker colour, doesn't it? Let's try a touch of burnt umber and maybe a touch of magenta. Slightly dark brown. And you know, it's just, these shadows are going to be a very important part of this painting. They're going to be probably the most important section of this painting, because it's the shadows that really make the bright sections stand out, isn't it? Now I hope there's no light reflecting on that. I think there is. You see I have a little bit of a window behind me here and there seems to be light reflecting in. So it's actually a bit darker than what you can see. I'll take some burnt umber and a touch of black. And I'll just come in down here. Let me just turn my phone here now ever so slightly so I can see it properly. Okay. Let's go down here and get nice and dark. Okay. Like that. Now what I'm going to do is it's going to gradually darken as it comes down. So I might even get a purple. I might take some phaylo blue and magenta. And I might even add a touch of purple down there. Rather than using a black, you can use a black of course, but I find a nice pinky purple gives a wonderful effect in a shadowed area of a stone. It just does. It brings the shadows to life, sort of. And I think finally I'll go with some black just down at the very bottom here. Now I'm kind of making this up as I go along, and what I mean by that is I'm kind of trying something to see if it works, and if it doesn't work I'll try something else. There's no set kind of rules as to, you know, how you do this. I'm going to leave all the lights till the last, the very bright highlights, I'll leave all those to last. I'll move on to this one down here because it's a similar colour, so I have the colour on my brush already. Try some naples yellow, cadmium yellow and a bit of burnt sienna. I'm just kind of seeing what I end up with, you know what I mean? I'm just trying different colours to see what happens. That's all it is really. Okay, I will put a lot more yellow into this now in just a moment as well, alright? We just get this one kind of filled in slightly. I'm going to make them nice and big now as well. I want nice big rocks. I don't want small rocks. I want nice big ones. Let's go for some cadmium yellow and burnt sienna. Really nice warm colour now, won't it? Comes across here quite far and comes down flat almost. Okay, so we have that. We have a darker section down here then. There is, let me see, I'm going to try cadmium yellow, a little cadmium red and burnt umber. I think I'll try that colour. So just coming down, getting that right there, and then coming across and up, and it comes straight over, doesn't it? That kind of a shape. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, all right? It really doesn't. I'm going to take some of the purple I had, pop a little purple in here. And I'm just kind of softening it through with my brush, really. That's all I'm doing. That's the technique. A bit of cadmium red, I'm mixing everything with my brush on the canvas, all right? The colours I'm putting in, I'm mixing on the canvas. And I think finally maybe a touch of black, just for around here, look. A little touch of black. Just at the base. Creating a little texture, like little lines, that kind of thing. And I might put a touch of that burnt sienna colour here. I'm going to come over a little bit more with that, look. So now you can see we have a kind of a turn on the rock, don't we? We have a little bend on the rock. That's quite nice, I like that. I just want to concentrate on filling everything in, and then I'll go and do the lighter colours, all right? Even, you know, with some of these here, I could kind of soften some of them out. Now this is still wet. I could soften some of them away just a little bit. If you find they're a little bit too kind of hard with the palette knife, you could just soften them, drag the paint away. Just a little, okay? You can, absolutely. Let's get this nice grey one, I like that. I'm going to go for a nice light grey. I'll try some phaylo blue with white and some cadmium red. Cadmium red will soften this really nicely rather than magenta. Let's try this. Okay, I think we'll start with that as a base anyway. Comes across, comes over like that, doesn't it? It turns. All right, and then we will put a darker grey. Let's get some magenta black and a touch of blue. Down along this side here. I'm making the lines a little squiggly as well. Look, it doesn't have to be perfect lines, does it? It really doesn't. Let's take some black and pop a little black down along the base. Again, little black over here. Soften it up with the brush, just being very random, okay? Now, there we go. This is all, it's a work in progress. We're taking our time. I'm not rushing anything like this. I want to put a little bit of a reflection and a shadow on the water as well. I'm going to take some phaylo blue, magenta, and a touch of black. I'm just going to bring that shadow, you can see the way the shadow kind of comes down. Now, I want this quite thin. It's going to come down like this. And just very gently soften it like that, okay? take a look at that. I might need to cover that window because there's an awful shine. There's a terrible shine on the canvas, isn't there? It's very difficult for you to see. I will just darken it a bit more. Now we will put kind of ripples and stuff around this later, so not to worry. Bit of burnt umber in there just to darken where it meets. Okay, I have my base colours kind of pretty much done. I'm just going to lighten ever so slightly around here, okay? Just like that. I'm going to move on to this darker one up here. Get that done. Black, a little burnt sienna, and some magenta with a bit of white. This is very kind of a dark, pinky grey sort of a stone up here. Comes down like that. Then we have pretty much just black, a little bit of brown in as well, just underneath. And don't worry, we're going to be doing a lot of work with the palette knife as well in a moment. My main goal is just to get them filled in and we can work after that. Now, let's get some of those that nice dark colour and put another one up here. Okay, and let's get a bit of brown. Put another small one next to it here. Now I'm going to go to my, I think I'll go to my small brush and I'm going to start just putting little highlights in here and there. I'm going to start with some Naples yellow and a little white. Okay, so let's start on this one. Nice light coming down here. And then we've got that light, it kind of just comes across here and there on top of the stone as well, doesn't it? And okay, we're moving around now, we're just moving around the canvas. I'm going to put a nice light over here just to separate those. I'm going to put a nice little light along here as well. Now believe it or not, there is kind of a light blue on top of some of these as well. It is there, I can't see it, so I'm going to try and put a little light blue on top of some of those. So let me try. If we take a little phaylo blue with lots of white, I do see, maybe a touch of magenta, make it kind of a pinkish blue colour. I do see a hint of a kind of a pinky blue glaze on top of those. You see what I mean? It's just kind of here and there, almost like it's wet. You see the kind of the difference that makes? It makes a bit of a difference, doesn't it? I might try that up here as well. And I'm certainly going to try it on this one here. A bit of blue just kind of swish it around a little bit. On top of that one, we do have a very bright colour, don't we? I'm going to go with just almost a white, bit of pink in this, but pretty much almost white. And just bring it in like that. And we'll go another little bit here. Okay, now we need to just add a little, what they call texture to some of these. I'm going to put a little white up there as well, a small touch of a highlight up on top of this one. Okay, just a little, perhaps a little there. Let's try a bit of texture, my friends. I think a little texture might be nice. I'm going to try a flat one. I go with this one here first. We take some white and a touch of the blue. Let's see, can we create a nice sharp line with some texture going across these rocks. That's a nice bit of texture now, isn't it? Then I'm going to get some burnt sienna with burnt umber and do the same on this one here. Just going to drag it down. Then I'm going to take some cadmium yellow with naples yellow and try a little bit of, let's go try here, look. I'm sort of messing around with the palette knife. Does that make sense? Just having a bit of fun, trying to just see what happens. It's only a bit of fun. Let's go and try it, look. And then I'll take maybe a hint of burnt sienna with this one again. Try a bit of burnt umber. It's all just making a very texture sort of a feeling. Now I'm going to take some black, a bit of black down here, and maybe just come up and down, just adding little hints of that. You see the way I'm just kind of scraping it randomly. And it does create texture on your rocks, it really does. This guy here needs a bit of grey, doesn't he? So I'm just going to grab some all different colours, bits of blue, bits of grey, and I'm just going to just kind of deposit the paint here and there, just give it a little bit of a scrape. And again, maybe a bit of black and burnt umber down here. Now I'll stand back and take a look. And there's one piece which is slightly annoying me and worrying me. It's just this kind of a grey here. It doesn't seem to be working for me for some reason. I don't know why, it just doesn't seem to be working properly. I don't know if you can see that properly now. You see, if I cover this, right? Let me just get a canvas and cover this for you from the light. So I'm covering the light behind me. You could see it looks a bit darker, doesn't it? But when I take it away, you can see that glare from the window. So I need to cover that window with something. And I will. Let me just go along here first with little touches of white, like so. And I'm going to darken over here as well. Pick up some of the black and I'm going to just darken that. So really, this is all about just, you know, I would say, look at the painting, or sorry, look at the photograph, and where you see little lights and darks, pop them in, just like this, look, when you see them. Sometimes you blend them in, sometimes you don't. Just have a bit of fun and mess around. What I'm doing now really is just kind of messing around with my brush, just to see what kind of effects I can get. You know, I don't know if it's going to work perfectly or not. I just don't know. But I'm just trying it. Get another bit up here, look, put a bit of white in around there. But yeah, you never know until you try something if it's going to work or not. But that's what I like about painting. That's what I like. It's you know, it's constantly evolving. You're constantly learning something new. It's very refreshing. You'll always learn something new with every painting you do. That's what I find with every painting. Now we need to get some nice swirl marks around some of these, really just to sit them down on the water. Okay, so I'm going to take some nice thin pinky blue, and I'm just going to kind of go around some of these like that. And all this is doing really is just sitting them down, isn't it? Okay, a few around here. I know there's none here, but I'm going to put one anyway, a small one, just to try and separate it from the water. That's all. I must put a bit of a reflection in here as well. So now they're starting to come together. I'm going to put a small reflection in under here, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take some burnt sienna and burnt umber. I'm going to just darken, so let's imagine it's coming across like this. I'm going to darken the stones underneath where it's crossing over the stones under the water. So I'm going to just darken those like that. Might need a bit of grey actually, and I'll darken this one, and then I'll darken the water as well. So I'm going to make a nice dark blue, and I'm going to just darken the water in between them as well. Now I must take some black and I must darken right along in here. Alright, we'll leave it at that. We can come back to all of this, not to worry. You could even just add more of effect to those. Just put a little bit of highlight on some of them here, as if the light is coming back through and catching the rocks under the water. Okay, something like that. Let's have a look around now and see what we can adjust. I'm going to take a small palette knife. I'm going to grab some cadmium yellow and lots of white. And I'm just going to go for some very bright, shining highlights. So, for example, there's a couple around here, isn't there? Put one or two in around here. Bit more white, I would say. And we have a nice one up here, turning, coming down the rock. So just small suggestions of highlights, really, that's all. Moreover, I'm really just worried about having fun. I'm not overthinking any of this. You know, I'm just really looking forward to seeing the finished result and being very proud of myself for what I've done, because, you know, you have to give yourself a little bit of credit every now and then. You can't be putting yourself down all the time. You can't do that. It's not good for your mindset, especially as an artist. You have to give yourself a little bit of credit every now and then, my friends. Don't be afraid. Now just take some nice bright white on its own. Just want to refine the shape of this rock just there. I just really want to get some impact on that. Then I'm going to mix a bright blue. A nice bright blue. I'm going to pop a little bit of that around here and there. Now obviously I don't want too much of this kind of knife work, so if you find this getting a bit much, you could just dab a soft brush, soften it around here and there. You see? If you don't want it too textured, so to speak, you can absolutely just soften it away with a soft brush. And that too adds texture to the painting. Now I must move on and do some of the ripples. I want to finish some of the ripples here and there. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Look, I'm just going to take a small flat brush. I want to lighten some of the blues up there. So maybe get some of that white with some of the blue. And I just want to lighten some of them. And I want to add a bit of pink into them at the same time. And really, I'm just trying different things. You know, if you can add a little something to your painting, then go for it. Don't be shy. Absolutely, don't be shy. Now again, I'll take a little bit of white, and I'm just going to bring a little bit of that lovely ripple just around here and there as well. Then maybe a bit of black, add a little bit of black around the ripples as well. At this point, I think I should just stand back and take a look at what we have. The problem with painting something like this is you can get so immersed, can't you? In your painting, you can really become very immersed and you kind of lose focus of what you're trying to achieve in the first place. Do you understand what I mean? That's something you have to be very careful about. I'm going to just pop a bit of a wiggle around this as if it's just kind of almost at the surface. Just to give the impression that they're almost at the surface, some of them. Now, let's stop and take a look. I'm going to turn the canvas now so you can see it without the shine. Now, how about that? I think the one thing I need to do is darken slightly that grey. I think it's just a bit too bright for the composition. What do you think? You might differ now, you might say no, leave it alone. But my eye is telling me that it's just slightly too bright. So I might just darken this ever so slightly. And maybe just add a slight gradient into it, so the more it goes down, maybe the darker it gets. I think it might look a bit better. I don't know why, but my eye was telling me that it needed to be slightly darker for some reason. Sometimes you can't explain things like this. You know, if something just looks like it needs to be slightly darker to make a better effect, then just make it darker. You know, you don't have to copy a photograph exactly. Just because it's dark on the photograph doesn't mean it needs to be dark in real life, if you understand what I mean. So, yeah, let's try that. I think that's a bit better. And my friends, I think that's finished. There's one thing I need to do to make sure it's finished, and that's the sign. I'm going to sign my name down here, S. Conway, and I hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial. I know it was a little bit lengthy, 3 parts, but I wanted to take my time. I really did. I wanted to do it properly. And I hope I've done it justice, my friends. Let me know what you think. Have I done it justice? Or have I completely ruined it? I don't mind. You tell me. I can take a bit of criticism every now and again. No problem at all. And there we go. Something a little more complicated for you to try. Let me just fix this. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I really do. And let me know what you think about this tutorial. If you want to try it, just take your time. You can simplify it. You don't have to go into all those little details that I was going into just there. You can just simplify it and use a palette knife. Just put a couple of swirl marks around the rocks, nice and loose. That would look absolutely stunning as well. But just give it a shot. Open your mind to different things. You never know. You might actually enjoy the challenge. So I will see you very, very soon again here on my channel. Thank you for subscribing if you have done so. And if you haven't done so, you're missing a lot. Thank you again to my patrons. If you want to check out that, there's plenty of stuff over there on Patreon as well, just like this, nice in-depth tutorials. If you want to support me, thank you so much. And happy painting. I'll see you all again, my friends, very soon. Thank you and take care.